Hello, hello, video request. Um, so, 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 um, so here we go. This guy goes, his name is, Mr. Arturo Williams B. Video request. Wondering if you're okay with discussing hallucinogens? If so, what's your opinion on them? Do you think they have helped you in any way? How often have you do them? What is your preferred method? What level of an experience have you reached? 1 is mild and 5 is out of body. Would love to hear what you have to say. Thanks. Okay. My experiences with psychedelics. I've done 5 psychedelics. I think the first one that I did was LSD, and I think that was like college, like freshman of college. And then I did like mushrooms, and then marijuana was the first one actually that I did. That was when I was a senior in high school, like second semester. And then in '96, I did what's that? Give me a second. Ayahuasca 2 times. Oh no, I've done peyote, so I've done 6 different kinds. I've done peyote twice. A little peyote button once, and then peyote with these Indians on the sweat lodge once. And then I did Salvia divinorum like 3 or 4 years ago. 4 years ago. And so let's, I guess, talk about all those. So I don't think I've ever gotten to a 5. I'd say 4 with salvia. That's by far the strongest psychedelic. Salvia is like crazy strong, like unbelievable, oh my god, as much as you can imagine, and then some. It's crazy. And I had 1 hit of green, of the very mildest. So that's why I said 4 instead of 5, because if I have a big hit of like the purple, then holy shite, maybe I will have out-of-body experience. Like a lot of people report, some people report trips on salvia a lot more interesting than what I had. Like what I had on salvia was I took a big hit and then I exhaled it and I saw the smoke come out. I took a big hit and I held it in, then I exhaled it. And then I felt like as though I was dipping my hands into warm water. They went numb from the tips of my fingers on both sides of my arms down to my torso. Like, I don't know, it took maybe like 3 or 4 seconds to get from the tips of my fingers to my body. And I remember when I felt it happening, I was going, okay, here's the trip, here I go. And I was excited about it. And then, once it got to my chest, boom, I was in this like rainbow, egg-shaped rainbow room. I called it rainbow room because it had these like 3-foot wide stripes of rainbow colors going like lengthwise through the room. And when I first arrived there was this like 2-foot tall, like little green goblin, looked like Yoda, right in front of me. And then when he noticed I saw him, he scampers off like just outside of my line of sight, and he's like laughing at me. And I could feel myself in this like world, like where there's just life all around me, because there was, I was in a neighborhood, in a house in a neighborhood, and I just felt like I was in the world. But that's all I knew. It was like I was like a plant. Like I didn't know anything other than that. And I was there, I was just blissed out. And then I saw this face in front of me, and then the lips were moving, and I didn't know who or what it was, or where I was or anything like that. And then like I started, to see more of the world, and the world came back to me from these rainbow colored. It was like that rainbow colored room, and then the real world, kind of. There were these like little windows of the real world moving down really fast, and then the rainbow, and half of it was rainbow and half of it was real world. And then all of a sudden I realized that I was like really high and out of control, and I didn't like it, so I wanted to come back into the real world, and I thought the best way to come back to the real world was to jump through the holes of the real world as it was coming down. But they were coming down really fast like this. So I had to I was trying to jump through with my arms, and so I was sticking my arms really fast, and it wasn't helping, it wasn't doing anything, and I'm moving both of my arms really fast, and then I realized that all I had to do was wait. And I kind of started to panic. I was like, I actually prayed to God. I go, God, please let me come back to the world, not brain damage, and I promise I'll never do this drug again. And then, and then I realized what was happening, so I just kind of sat there and relaxed, and then I was like, holy shit, that was fucking fucked up. And I was still high. It's kind of like your brain is burnt out. It was kind of like a high you would get maybe from really bad weed when you've been smoking weed way too much for a month. It was a body high, kind of like that. But anyways, the dude I was with said that I was going, and he said he thought I was having a epileptic seizure because my arms were moving fast, and I looked down and my whole shirt was just drenched in saliva because I was going. Anyways, if I do that again, it's legal. It's crazy. We got it at the store. I wonder if I can get it here in Boulder. But if you can, I don't know, maybe I'll do it again, but I don't know anybody who would do it with me, who would film me, because I don't know anybody who's that crazy. But, yeah, that's the craziest shit, dude, ever. Oh my God. If you want an out-of-body experience, do salvia. If you want a crazy-ass experience, you should do a big old hit of purple salvia in a cemetery. Or maybe in a cemetery sitting right on top of a casket of somebody who was just laid there that day. Because people hover around their bodies for 3 days after they die. Maybe you could hang out with a dude and be like, yo, what's up, man? Anyways, because I think it does take you to the spirit world, man, big time. And I only had one hit of the green. So that's the strongest by far. But yeah, marijuana, if you smoke a whole bunch of marijuana, that's a psychedelic. The psychedelic properties of marijuana is kind of I don't know, you jump to conclusions, really bizarre, weird conclusions really fast. And kind of lose your sense of logic sometimes. For example, 3 years ago, I was in Moab, Utah, because I was living out of my van in Moab, 11 miles outside of Moab, because I was going to do this mountain bike race, this 24-hour mountain bike race in a couple of weeks. And there's this other dude out there who just drove out there for the weekend to ride the course, and we rode the course together. And then he got me high, and he starts talking, and he's like, yeah, my girlfriend, she's gonna move out here with me. And he's living in Aspen, and he was, and I was like, what? You're gonna live here? Where I was living, camping. He's like, what? No, Aspen. That kind of thing. But yeah, other weird, you get confused about some things. When you're high on marijuana, if you get really high. Yeah, if you smoke high weed all the time, all day every day, then you'll be you can get start thinking crazy thoughts, make you schizo sort of. So then let's see, LSD. I've had a stronger trips on LSD than magic mushrooms. The strongest trip I ever had on LSD, and it may have been the last time I ever did it. I had 5 hits of acid with a couple of friends, and I was a sophomore in college, and we had a really fun time. We were running around and just tripping and all that, and just a normal trip. And then they went to bed. Oh no, then we get all high, and then they went to bed. And then I guess the high, getting high from marijuana brought the trip back. Because I look at my hands, and my hands were really short and really wide. And I was like, oh my God, now I'm I just got and then and this is 6 hours after I ate it. And now I'm peaking. I came down, then I got high on marijuana, and now I'm peaking again. Like, that's what marijuana does. It can break your trip back. And then I started feeling like I felt all of the nerves in my body, like they were pieces of metal grinding against each other, and like that was, that was a really uncomfortable feeling, kind of like listening to somebody scratch their fingernails across a blackboard all over my body, and it was like, it sucked. It was like hell. And I finally went through that, and I had like, for like a couple years after that, even when I was high or like sober, I would feel that, and it just freaked me out, and I couldn't do acid again. Maybe there was a lot of strychnine in it or something, but, oh wait, what's this guy's questions? Because I think he asked me didn't he ask me how many times I did it? Wondering if you're okay discussing this. What's your opinion on them? Do you think they have helped you in any way? How often do you do them? How often? I don't know, I guess I did acid in college, maybe a total of a couple dozen times or something. And then mushrooms, maybe that many times. And then smoke weed, who knows how many times. And then I did the peyote button once and the peyote, from the sweat lodge once. And then, yeah. I don't do them anymore because, it's illegal. I don't know where to find it. If I knew where to get it, I'd get it. Yeah, for me, LSD and mushrooms are pretty similar. The effect and the visual effect, and at least as far as I remember, the visual effect and the mental effect and everything. LSD is a little bit more intense. Like, it gives you more energy, and mushrooms, it's just more like earthy. I prefer mushrooms. Let's see. And then there's peyote. When I did the peyote button, and I was camping in like a tent above timberline, and I was just sitting there all day, and it's like, well, I think peyote, it's a root. It's like a root cactus, and the same feeling I got with ayahuasca, which is half root, half vine, and it's kind of like you feel like you're part of the earth, like you're really grounded. And when I did ayahuasca, I did it with these like Americans, but they were like shamans. They trained in the shamanic songs. So they're doing songs for all the people involved with us, and they sang like all night, and we just kind of sat there, and it's not nearly as strong as mushrooms or acid. It's probably like similar in terms of potency. It's like similar to getting like really high on marijuana. Only it has a more spiritual vibe to it. Like, you're more just because it's new, maybe because it's new, but it's just different. It's more it's not really, it doesn't make you think weird thoughts, but it just makes you feel, I guess, more. But it's hard to remember. And then I did peyote with these Indians. I was invited, like, hanging out with these Indians, and invited to do some sweat lodge, or not sweat lodge. Yeah, just sitting in, I guess, a sweat lodge or whatever, and then doing the peyote. That was a weird ass experience. I was stone cold sober the whole time, even though I threw up. I was stone cold sober. I didn't trip at all, because I was with these Indians, and they were like, all of a sudden, I think they were tripping balls, because all of a sudden, I went there with a white dude, and two Indians, and no, two white dudes and two Indians. And because one of the white dudes I was hanging out with one of the Indians, and he invited us. And but the Indians who hosted it, it was this like one lady, one older guy, and another lady, and then a young boy, and it was like commemorating the boy's birthday party. He was like 10 or something. and then maybe one other guy, I think. Oh yeah, and then another guy. I remember that guy. Because these Indians, all of a sudden, like the host Indians, decided they hated my guts. It was the weirdest thing. They spent the entire night staring me right in the eye and saying, you don't understand. This is our church. You need to respect our church. And just like talking trash to me. I can't remember what they said, but basically like giving me the third degree, like I was like evil. I think they got pissed off because I puked and because I dropped the ladle in the water because they were like passing like water around. And I was like looking right at them, like I was fucking pissed off at them, but I didn't say anything. And yeah, they took turns. There was this lady, and then this other lady, and then this other dude. And the three of them, not the older guy, but the three of them were taking turns staring me square in the eye and like fucking giving me the third degree. Like I was like, why'd you come here, you fuck, like, da da da, you motherfucker. And I was just like, and anyway, we went out for a break, and like one of the Indians I was with was like furious, dude. He's like, let's get the fuck out of here. I hate these fucking assholes. And so I started my car, but one of my white friends, because I was like, all right, let's leave, because I was pissed off too. But one of my white friends was like, no, let's not leave. It would be offensive to them if we leave halfway through. And the other guy was like, who invited us, who was like the friend of the dude who hosted it, was like, these guys are dicks. Let's fuck this place. These fucking assholes. But anyway, we decided to stay. And then at the end of it, I was like, okay, bye. And like the lady, who is the nastiest, really bad, goes, don't drop it, the ladle. And then the other one, I said, okay, bye. And then she just like didn't say anything, like scowling at me like she wanted to tear my head off. And then I said to the old medicine man guy, I go, party on. And he was like, huh? Oh, party on. Anyways, I heard later on that Indian, like, they really wanted us to come back because I think they felt bad about their little freak out that they had. But anyways, after that, and it was weird because the guy who invited us, he knew this other Indian because it was in the same town, who was invited me for one of those peyote sweat lodges the year before because I was like the guy who sponsored this bill to try to get rid of Columbus Day in our college, with these other Indians, and I wrote a letter in the newspaper about it and everything. And I told the guy, I was like, yeah, do you know Michael? He was the Indian and I think he knew him. And I was like, yeah, he invited us to a sweat lodge and I think he placed me, and he was like, oh shit, that's the white boy who tried to get rid of Columbus Day. And then like and so I think they kind of felt bad, but anyways, it made me lose all respect for Native Americans. I don't ever want to fucking hang out with Native Americans again after that. But that was weird because I was like, it made it so that I couldn't trip. I was just like, I didn't feel any effect of it at all. All I did was puke. It was weird. But let's see here. And then what's another one? I think I listed all the different psychedelics I've done. If so, what's your opinion on them? Do you think they have helped you in any way? Wait. Oh, well, the last time I did psychedelics was in Amsterdam. I bought truffles when I first went there, and then I bike toured around Europe for 5 months. This is back in summer 2010. And then I did the truffles again when I came back, and those make you trip, not totally hard, but if you buy they have the weak ones and the strong ones. The place is called Tatanka, and their website is tatanka.nl, and it's right there on like one of those streets near a plaza that you can just go in the store and buy them. Yeah, it's strong enough. The strong ones. If you get the strong ones, it's definitely strong enough to have a good trip. Not like a totally hardcore trip, but a good trip. As long as you don't have a immunity build up to it. You can build immunities to mushrooms really quickly, dude. Like if you eat mushrooms 2 days in a row, the second day you'll have to eat like twice as many. My brother was eating mushrooms a lot, and one time he ate an entire, with his friends, but by himself though, each one, they ate an entire 1/4 ounce of mushrooms. each, and they didn't trip at all. They didn't feel a single thing. And he was like, all right, I think that my mushroom days are over. Yeah, so yeah, okay. What's your opinion? What do you think do you think they have helped you anyway? Yeah. Psychedelics. Like marijuana is a psychedelic. Psychedelics are really good for kind of resetting your brain. Like, you think things when you're high that you don't think of when you're sober. So, like, like a lot of the times people have this idea of marijuana, like, oh, you smoke marijuana, like you were high, so you forgot to do this, so you forgot to do that. Well, for me, like, if I get high, or if I even do mushroom or something, I suddenly remember that I forgot to do something when I was sober. I go, oh shit, I forgot to do that. Oh, I forgot about this. And so I think of a lot of new things. So it's kind of like pushing the reset button and like starting over and like covering all your bases all over again. Kind of like proofreading your life, taking a second look at lots of different things. And, and so that's extremely helpful. If mushrooms were legal here, like they are in the Netherlands, I guess they're not technically legal, but obviously they're legal because you can buy them right there in the store. If it was legal here and I could just go in the store, I'd probably eat mushrooms at least once a month. If I could afford it. I think they were 20 euros there in Amsterdam, which is like $35. So. Yeah, well, no, for $35, I wouldn't do it every month, but I do it like every few months. I do mushrooms. I trip, and I think I would trip out in nature. The best place to trip for me, especially as you get older and you get kind of more and more of a lightweight for it, or you get better at it tripping. It's best to trip out in nature. If you're in a house, you kind of don't know what to do. You get bored. You want to move around, but then you don't know where you're going to go next, and you're like crawling around on the floor, and it's kind of a disaster. It's better to just trip out there in nature. One thing though, I was on acid once, and I went on a run on this trail, from my mom's house, and I'm sitting on this log, and the log was like 20 feet. I swear to God, it was like 20 feet away from the trail. Okay, I'm sitting on a log 20 feet away from the trail, and this runner runs by, and he stops and he turns to me and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I was like, yeah. So I must have had this crazy look on my face, like, yeah, man. Yeah, I don't have any other stories of myself, like, freaking out. I've got other stories of other people, but that's not what this video is. Actually, that's another video I already had, but, yeah. So, let's see here. Do you think you have helped you in any way? Yeah, they help it great. How often do you do them? Well, when I was in college, I don't know, once a month or whatever. What is your preferred method? What's my preferred psychedelic? Marijuana is my favorite, but that's something you can do every day. As far as like psychedelic, my favorite would be mushrooms. I really like mushrooms because they're natural. They're straight up natural, They're not like, and you don't have to worry about strychnine or overdosing, like with acid. I really like acid. Peyote and ayahuasca, I'm not as into because, but I've never done them alone. Oh wait, I've done 7 different kinds because I did DMT once with my brother. Only that fucking asshole. We should have split it up. Because we just put a bowl in and he took the first hit. So I took the second hit, but I got like the burnt out part. And, DMT is extremely visual psychedelic because I saw like patterns in my head and like, it looked like patterns all of a sudden, like a Ferris wheel or something, and all these like beings like moving around and dancing with each other and like live beings that I can see all of a sudden. But it didn't last that long. And then my brother was like, oh my God, that was insane. Holy shit. And I was like, well, nothing really happened to me. So that bastard, I need to bring it up to him. Tell him he fucked up when he did that. Yeah, I've done cocaine, but I don't think that, cocaine is, I would consider cocaine a psychedelic. First time like the first time I did freebase. Freebase I would consider big time psychedelic because I think I did freebase twice, and I did freebase once with these total hardcore crackheads, and like I felt Kundalini shoot up in my spine, like where I could sit perfectly upright without even trying at all. And I felt like all this love and peace and everything, and I was like, hey, and I was like wanting to talk and be like, hey guys, but they were just kind of sitting there like, and yeah. Oh, I had another weird experience on LSD. I was on acid once, and I was at my mom's house. This is like on some break or whatever from college, and my mom is like, let's do the red Tara practice. And so I'm like, all right. So she goes upstairs, and there's this like red Tara statue, and then she starts chanting, like something in Tibetan, like where she's chanting, like chanting, and then she continues to chant on her inhale, and then chants on her exhale and inhale for like 10 minutes, and that was pretty trippy, and I'm meditating. But then I stood up, and we went over to her friend's house, and I stood up, and I had Kundalini, dude. Like it was like this flame of like light shooting up of energy, just shooting up my entire body. And like I was floating as I was walking, and I was totally upright straight without even making any effort at all. The only other time I've had that Kundalini feeling was like the time I freebase, the time I, it's not like energy, like energy. It's like flame. It's like perfectly, like the little energy units are so fast that it's just like this, just this constant, constant energy, where the particles are so small. It's like fluid. It's like liquid. Yeah, the only times I had the Kundalini was that time. Again, I was like that, like standing up in the car and then like walking into her friend's house. Like it could have lasted as long as I wanted. It was trippy, man. And I think it had something to do with that practice she did, because it happened right after that. But the only other times that I've had it, other than the freebase, the acid, was in these 10-day Vipassana meditation retreats where you meditate from 4:30 in the morning till 9:30 at night. I did 4 of them when I was a teenager, and like and you do them for 10 days, and like by the 9th or 10th day, by like the end of like one of the longer meditations, like you'll get to the point where you can experience that Kundalini, where you sit perfectly straight without any effort at all, because energy just holds you straight up, and you're just like in at perfect peace, and it's a cool feeling. So let's see here. How often have you do them? What is your preferred method? Yeah, my preferred method would be mushrooms. What level of experience have you reached? 1 mild, 5 out of body? Yeah, probably the strongest was that acid trip. 4, but the most like coolest was the Kundalini. But I haven't had like straight up out of body, and I've never had an out of body experience. Like I go away and I'm looking at my body, and I can't remember my dreams anymore either, so it's kind of too bad. But okay, would love to hear what you have to say. Thanks. Okay, so yeah, psychedelics. Yeah, it's a real pity that psychedelics are illegal. Maybe after they legalize marijuana, maybe somebody will introduce a bill next year, or maybe it'll be me if I can get around to it, to try to legalize the other natural drug that comes right out of the earth, that it's a plant that's illegal, magic mushrooms. Because if you could buy magic mushrooms at the store, that'd be so awesome, because then I could do the magic mushrooms whenever I wanted and reboot my brain and think new things and reevaluate and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people don't like psychedelics like that, though, because it makes people reevaluate so much that it freaks them out. Like, it draws people too close to each other, and it makes people uncomfortable. People aren't used to being too like intimate with each other in their minds, mental entanglement and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Hallucinogens. Oh, you didn't say psychedelics, you said hallucinogens. Well, I guess marijuana is not a hallucinogen then. As far as visual hallucinogens, the strongest is salvia. Second strongest is DMT, although maybe DMT is just as strong as salvia if you take a big old hit. That's what Terrence McKenna says, is that it's super strong. But and then acid, because you can see like when you're on acid, hallucinogenic experiences, it's like the walls are breathing. Like you look at the walls and you can see them moving like this, and and uh, and then with I think in mushrooms it does the same thing, but I'm not totally sure. Not as much as acid though. Mushrooms, it's more like stuff gets really bright. That's kind of like when you're really high too. Colors get really bright and you just start noticing things that you didn't notice before. Kind of like Superman. You have Superman powers. You like zoom in on something, and then you're looking at the little like all of a sudden you're looking at like an ant crawling on a plant way over there, and you've never seen an ant crawl on a plant way over there, and then you're like listening to the birds and the on the train and everything at the same time, and it's just like yeah, and like is marijuana well. And as far as visual hallucinations, I didn't have anything like that on peyote or ayahuasca. Yeah, and with marijuana, like I said, it's just colors. And okay, so I guess that's that video. All right, peace out.